My name is Heidi Redlich Epstein, and I am the Director of Kinship Policy. We were fortunate enough to enter a partnership in 2007 with Generations United and Casey Family Programs, and there was a very quick turnaround to get this website up and running, with the idea of being that it was sort of a one-stop shop of all information to support grand families. So what we know is that children who are placed with kin have more placement stability. The average foster child moves from placement to placement and can see anywhere from 5 to 20 placements while they're in foster care. When you're with a relative, I think what we know research-wise is that children don't move around as much. I always attributed to grandma's a lot more willing to put up with their grandchild's nonsense than the average, foster parent, who's doing a wonderful job. But when problems happen, and they're going to happen, especially with teenagers, you don't get as many of those phone calls of get the child out of the home. So I think that that's one thing that we see. We also see that the child stays connected to their relatives and their family. Often when children are removed and placed into foster care, not only do they lose their parents, they lose their siblings, they lose their aunts, their uncles, their grandparents, their extended family. When they're placed with kin, they stay connected to their family. They get to maintain their cultural identity. They keep their contacts with their family. And overall, they just do well behaviorally and educationally. They do a lot better when they're in kinship homes. Biggest one, and you'd be surprised that it still exists, is people say the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. And most people think that if somebody has raised a child who is drug addicted or has criminal involvement, and then they have children, that clearly the grandparents did a bad job of raising their child. Why would they do a better job of raising their grandchildren? You have people who say, why should we give kin help? Why should we give them supports? Why should we give them money? But yet we're willing to give it to foster parents who don't know anything about these children to do the same job of raising these children. So I think what people need to understand is that supporting relatives actually is a win for everybody, a win for the system, a win financially, and especially a win for the children. I think the hardest part is really working in a system that, quite honestly, it is more difficult for caseworkers, and I sympathize with this. It is more difficult for a caseworker to place a child with a relative. They're not already licensed. They're not already screened. We haven't already done a home visit and a home check. So the knee-jerk reaction is, I have a body and I have a bed. I'm going to put the child in that bed. But instead, if we take extra time at the beginning of the case to really find the right family placement for them, that in the long run, it's going to be a lot better off for the child. They're not going to move around. They're going to get permanency a lot sooner as well. So I think that understanding that even though it's easier in the beginning, the payoffs are large in the end to do the right thing. I encourage people to, if they want to know more about this topic, to visit our website, grandfamilies.org, and to make sure that they ask questions and really look into this issue.